Welcome back. Have you ever wondered what makes the Sinnoh region so uniquely mysterious compared to every other region in the Pokémon world? Tonight, we're settling in with 180 obscure facts about Sinnoh's Pokémon, their hidden origins, forgotten lore, and the secrets that even the most dedicated trainers might have missed. Let your mind drift as we explore the depths of Generation 4's most fascinating details. The Sinnoh region holds a special place in Pokemon history as the first region to truly embrace mythology and creation lore. When Game Freak designed Diamond and Pearl, they drew inspiration from Hokkaido, Japan's northernmost island, known for its volcanic activity, snowy peaks, and natural hot springs. This geographical inspiration shaped everything from Mount Coronet's imposing presence to the three Great Lakes scattered across the region. Sinnoh became the first Pokemon region to feature snow covered routes as a permanent part of the landscape, fundamentally changing how players experienced their journey. The development team wanted to create a sense of ancient mystery, which is why the region feels heavier with legend and folklore than Kanto, Johto, or Hoenn ever did. Before we keep going, let me know in the comments where you're watching from tonight. And if you'd like more calm journeys like this, make sure you're subscribed. Turtwig, the grass type starter, carries more botanical accuracy than most players realize. Its shell isn't just decorative, it's based on actual tortoise biology combined with the growth patterns of seedlings. The shell hardens as the Pokemon ages, mimicking how tree bark develops protective layers over time. Turtwig's design also references the world turtle mythological concept found in Hindu, Chinese, and Native American cultures, where a giant turtle carries the world on its back. In Pokemon lore, this connects to Torterra's final form, which literally carries an entire ecosystem. The small sprout on Turtwig's head performs photosynthesis, meaning it can theoretically survive without eating if it receives enough sunlight. This makes Turtwig one of the few Pokemon that could be classified as both animal and plant simultaneously, existing in a unique biological category. Groudla's name combines grove and turtle, but its Japanese name, Hayashigame, more directly translates to forest turtle. During its middle evolution stage, Groudla's shell begins to crack and expand, creating space for the plants that will eventually flourish on Torterra's back. This cracking process would be incredibly painful for a real turtle, suggesting that Groudle possesses remarkable pain tolerance, or that its shell is made of something entirely different from keratin. The bushes on its back are not random vegetation, but specifically chosen plants that thrive in the Sinnoh climate. Game Freak designers likely referenced bonsai cultivation techniques when creating Grottla's aesthetic, as the careful balance of growth and restraint mirrors traditional Japanese gardening philosophy. Torterra stands as one of the heaviest, non legendary Pokemon ever created, weighing in at 683 pounds. To put that in perspective, that's heavier than a grand piano. Its grass and ground typing makes it the only starter Pokemon with a 4 times weakness to ice, which becomes a significant strategic consideration in Sinnoh's northern routes. The ancient trees growing on Torterra's back can live for hundreds of years, meaning that a Torterra's shell essentially becomes a mobile forest ecosystem. Small Pokémon like Burmy and Cherubi are known to make their homes in these trees, creating a symbiotic relationship. Torterra's legs have adapted to support its immense weight, developing bone density far beyond what should be possible for its size. The Pokedex states that some Pokemon are born on a Torterra's back and live their entire lives there, never touching the ground. This creates fascinating questions about Pokemon ecology and migration patterns. Chimchar represents the fire monkey archetype found throughout Asian mythology, particularly the famous Monkey King, Sun Wukong, from the Chinese novel Journey to the West. The flame on Chimchar's rear end burns using gas produced in its stomach, similar to how certain deep sea creatures create bioluminescence through chemical reactions. This flame never extinguishes, even when Chimchar sleeps, which raises questions about its metabolic rate and caloric needs. In the wild, Chimchar live in mountainous regions where they can climb trees to avoid predators and use their flames to stay warm during cold nights. Their incredibly agile nature comes from having elongated fingers and toes that provide superior grip on branches and rocky surfaces. Monferno's Japanese name, Mukazaru, combines the words for fierce and monkey, highlighting its aggressive combat style. During evolution from Chimchar, Monferno's flame moves from its tail to its head, representing a shift in how it channels its fire energy. This change coincides with Monferno learning to stand upright more frequently and developing rudimentary martial arts techniques. The blue markings on Monferno's face may serve as intimidation displays, similar to how mandrills use bright facial coloration to assert dominance. Monferno's tail has become prehensile, allowing it to grasp objects and use it as a fifth limb during combat. This adaptation makes Monferno one of the most acrobatic fighting type Pokemon, capable of aerial maneuvers that would be impossible for many other fighting types. Infernape completes the Sun Wukong reference with its golden crown like head crest and mastery of combat techniques. Its fire and fighting typing made it the third firefighting starter in a row, which became a point of controversy among fans who wanted more type diversity. However, Infernape's design justifies this combination through its clear mythological inspiration and its signature move, close combat. Infernape's flames burn hotter than either Chimchar or Monferno, reaching temperatures that can melt steel within seconds. This intense heat output requires Infernape to consume massive amounts of food daily, much like how real world shrews must eat constantly to maintain their high metabolism. The fighting style Infernape employs combines elements of Muay Thai, with its emphasis on knee and elbow strikes, and Chinese martial arts, with its acrobatic movements. Infernape's base speed stat of 108 makes it one of the fastest fully evolved starters, able to outspeed many legendary Pokemon. Piplup, despite its adorable appearance, possesses one of the most prideful personalities among starter Pokemon. This pride isn't just flavor text, it's reflected in its hidden ability, Defiant, which sharply raises its attack when its stats are lowered. Piplup's design draws from both penguins and the concept of a young prince, with its chest fluff resembling a cravat or formal collar. The light blue coloration helps Piplup camouflage against ice and water, providing protection from aerial predators like Starly. Piplup cannot swim well initially, despite being a water type, which seems contradictory until you remember that many baby penguins must learn to swim through practice and experience. The stubborn nature Piplup displays often leads to comical situations in the anime, but this personality trait would be crucial for such a survival in Sinnoh's harsh northern environments. Prinplup's name combines prince and plup, but its evolution represents a teenager going through an awkward growth phase. Its flippers have grown larger and more powerful, capable of shattering ice floes with single strikes. This increased physical power comes at the cost of coordination, which is why Prinplup often appears clumsy compared to Piplup's graceful waddle. The twin crests on Prinplup's head serve multiple purposes, including intimidation displays, courtship rituals, and possibly as organs for detecting changes in barometric pressure. Prinplup's increased pride from its evolution makes it difficult to train, as it will actively resist commands it considers beneath its dignity. This behavioral trait mirrors how real emperor penguins establish social hierarchies through displays of dominance. Empoleon stands as the only water and steel type Pokemon in existence, giving it a remarkable defensive typing with 9 resistances and 1 immunity. Its design draws heavily from Napoleon Bonaparte, with its crown representing imperial power and its commanding presence reflecting military leadership. The 3 horns extending from Empoleon's head can slice through drift ice with minimal effort, demonstrating the incredible sharpness of its steel-type attributes. Empoleon's wings have fully transformed into steel-edged flippers capable of cutting through opponents like swords, making it one of the few Pokemon whose body parts function as actual weapons. Despite its heavy steel composition, Empoleon can swim at speeds exceeding 60 miles per hour by expelling water from its body with incredible force, essentially creating a biological jet propulsion system. The complex hierarchy within Empoleon colonies mirrors European imperial courts, with dominant individuals claiming the best fishing spots and nesting areas. Starly appears to be a common route one-bird Pokemon, but it actually possesses some fascinating behavioral traits. These Pokemon travel in enormous flocks that can contain thousands of individuals, creating a sound described as deafening when they all cry simultaneously. The pattern of Starly's flight feathers serves as identification markers, allowing other Starly to recognize family members from great distances. Despite their small size, Starly are incredibly territorial during breeding season, attacking Pokemon many times their size to protect their nests. Their lightweight bones and efficient respiratory systems allow them to maintain flight for hours without rest, making them exceptional for long distance migration. Starly's weak attack stat in the early game makes sense biologically, as young birds lack the muscle development necessary for powerful strikes. Staravia represents the awkward adolescent phase of the Starly line, growing larger but not yet possessing the raw power of Staraptor. The tuft of feathers on Staravia's head stands erect when it's alert, functioning as a warning signal to its flock. Staravia forms smaller groups than Starly, typically consisting of family units rather than massive flocks, suggesting a social restructuring during this evolution stage. The increased wingspan allows Staravia to glide efficiently, conserving energy during long flights. Their talons have grown sharper and stronger, enabling them to catch small Pokémon like Bidoof as prey. Staravia's aggressive nature increases dramatically from Starly, particularly when defending territory, which reflects how many bird species become more combative as they mature. Staraptor evolves from Staravia at level 34, becoming one of the most fearsome normal and flying type Pokémon available in Sinnoh. Its crest grows dramatically larger, and the red coloration intensifies, likely signaling its status as a mature, dominant individual. Staraptor's most distinctive feature is its signature move, Close Combat, which no other early game bird Pokemon can learn naturally. This fighting type move grants Staraptor incredible type coverage and makes it a genuine threat even in competitive battles. The muscle mass required to perform close combat means Staraptor is significantly heavier and more robust than typical flying types, possessing a more predatory build. Staraptor's hunting technique involves diving from high altitudes and striking prey with enough force to knock out Pokémon much larger than itself. The facial feather pattern creates an intimidating appearance that serves to warn rival predators away from its territory. Bidoof might be the most underestimated Pokemon in Sinnoh, often dismissed as comic relief, despite its practical utility. Its classification as the plump mouse Pokemon accurately describes its rotund body shape, which provides excellent insulation against Sinnoh's cold weather. Bidoof's continuously growing front teeth require constant gnawing to prevent overgrowth, explaining why they chew through trees and rocks with equal enthusiasm. These Pokemon display remarkable intelligence when building dams, somehow instinctively understanding water flow dynamics and structural engineering principles. Bidoof can learn an astounding variety of HM moves, making it invaluable for traversing Sinnoh's diverse terrain. Its simple, unassuming appearance masks genuine toughness, as Bidoof possess surprising endurance and can withstand attacks that would knock out frailer Pokemon. Bibarel's transformation from Bidoof represents a dramatic increase in both size and capability. Growing to over 3 feet long and weighing approximately 69 pounds, Bibarel becomes a formidable presence near water sources. Its tail functions as a powerful rudder and can be used to slap opponents with enough force to create small shockwaves. Bibarel's dam building abilities surpass even Bidoof's, creating structures strong enough to alter river courses and flood entire valleys. The oil secreted from Bibarel's fur provides waterproofing that allows it to swim in freezing water without suffering hypothermia. Bibarel families work together cooperatively, displaying complex social behaviors and division of labor that rivals many primate species. Despite its goofy appearance, Bibarel's simple ability makes it a surprisingly effective sweeper in competitive battles when paired with moves like Curse or Amnesia. Kricketot represents one of the smallest bug type Pokemon introduced in Generation 4, standing at only 1 foot tall. Its design is based on a cricket combined with a musical note, emphasizing the importance of its cry in communication. Cricketot's antennae collide together to create its distinctive sound, functioning like biological maracas that produce different tones depending on the speed and angle of collision. These Pokemon synchronize their cries when multiple individuals gather, creating harmonious choruses that echo through Sinnoh's forests at night. Cricketot's hard exoskeleton provides decent protection despite its low defensive stats, deflecting pecks from bird Pokemon that mistake it for easy prey. The cry Cricketot produces can be heard from over half a mile away on quiet nights, serving as a territorial marker and mating call simultaneously. Cricketune has become famous in recent years due to its distinctive cry sound effect, which sounds remarkably like it's shouting "Delalele hoop." This mimetic status has brought attention to an otherwise overlooked Pokemon. Cricketune crossed arms contain sharp blades that it uses to create music by rubbing them together, similar to how real crickets create sound through stridulation. The melodies Cricketune composes vary by individual, with each Cricketune developing its own unique signature tune that other Cricketune can recognize. In the wild, Cricketune hold concerts where multiple individuals perform together, creating complex symphonies that can last for hours. The cry serves multiple purposes, including attracting mates, warning of predators, and establishing territory boundaries. Cricketune bug type classification makes it vulnerable to many common threats in Sinnoh, but its long range sound attacks allow it to fight effectively from a distance. Despite its graceful appearance, Cricketune possesses sharp reflexes and can strike with its arm blades faster than the eye can follow. Shinx introduces players to Sinnoh's regional electric type rodent, though its design more closely resembles a lion cub than a mouse. The electrical energy Shinx generates when its muscles contract causes its fur to glow, creating a natural light source that helps it navigate dark caves. This illumination effect also serves as a warning display, showing potential predators that Shinx can deliver powerful electric shocks. Shinx's front paws contain specialized pads that can detect electrical fields, allowing it to sense the presence of other electric types or electronic devices from considerable distances. Young Shinx have difficulty controlling their electrical output, which is why they sometimes shock their trainers accidentally during handling. The star pattern formed by Shinx's glowing fur has cultural significance in Sinnoh folklore, with ancient people believing that Shinx were fallen stars come to Earth. Luxio evolves from Shinx at level 15, developing longer limbs and a more muscular build suited for hunting. The electrical power Luxio generates increases dramatically from Shinx, strong enough to paralyze much larger Pokemon with a single discharge. Luxio's claws extend when preparing to attack, functioning like retractable switchblades that can slash through rock and metal. These Pokémon often travel in pairs or small family groups, cooperating to take down prey or defend against threats. The tail on Luxio functions as a lightning rod, allowing it to safely absorb electrical attacks and convert them into additional power. Luxio's increased aggression compared to Shink's reflects the behavioral changes that occur in many predatory species as they reach adolescence and begin competing for status within their social groups. Luxray represents the apex predator of the electric feline line, commanding respect through both its powerful build and its unique ability to see through objects. This X ray vision ability isn't explained by any scientific principle in our world, making Luxray genuinely supernatural in its capabilities. Luxray uses this sight to track prey hiding underground or behind walls, making it nearly impossible for smaller Pokemon to escape its hunt. The intense golden eyes that glow when Luxray activates its sight power have inspired countless legends in Sinnoh about a beast that can see into one's soul. Luxray's electrical generation capacity rivals that of power plants, with enough voltage to restart a stopped heart or completely fry electronic systems. The mane of Luxray functions as both a visual threat display and a natural defense against attacks, with the thick fur providing insulation against fire and electric type moves. Despite having a base attack stat of 120, Luxray suffers from poor physical electric type move options in its early generations, learning only Spark and Thunderfang naturally. This limitation made Luxray less effective than its impressive stats suggested, though later generations granted it access to Wild Charge and other powerful moves. Luxray families maintain complex hierarchies, with the strongest individual leading the pride and making decisions about territory and hunting grounds. Budo represents one of the baby Pokemon introduced in Generation 4, serving as the pre-evolution to Roselia from Generation 3. The buds on Budo's head contain powerful poison that will bloom into Roselia's flowers upon evolution, demonstrating how toxins develop through the Pokemon's life cycle. Budo can only evolve during the daytime, with high friendship, making it one of the first Pokemon to require both happiness and specific time conditions for evolution. These dual requirements reflect the plant-like nature of Budo, as it needs sunlight to photosynthesize and the care of a dedicated trainer to thrive. Budo's bulb opens slightly when it's happy or experiencing warm weather, revealing a tiny bit of the flower that will eventually emerge. The green stem that forms Budo's body is remarkably flexible, allowing it to sway in strong winds without breaking. Wild Budo often grow near Roselia, benefiting from the protection provided by their evolved forms while learning to control their poison. The pollen Budo produces in small quantities can cause allergic reactions in humans, though it's far less potent than Roselia's toxic spores. Roselia gained new relevance in Generation 4 as players discovered they could evolve it into Roserade using a shiny stone. This evolution item requirement makes Roserade relatively difficult to obtain, as shiny stones are rare finds in Sinnoh. Rosalia's dual grass and poison typing makes it an excellent counter to water types, combining super effective grass moves with resistance to water attacks. The red and blue roses on Rosalia's arms can release different types of pollen, with the red rose producing paralytic spores and the blue rose creating sleep inducing particles. Rosalia's graceful appearance belies its dangerous nature, as the thorns covering its body can deliver toxins potent enough to knock out much larger Pokémon. In the wild, Roselia congregate in flower gardens where they absorb nutrients from the soil and drink morning dew from leaves. The sweeter the flowers in an area, the more aromatic and potent Roselia's poison becomes, creating an interesting relationship between its environment and its battle capabilities. Rosalia's slim, elegant build makes it fast and difficult to hit, befitting its status as a special attacker with decent speed. Roserade stands as Sinnoh's premier grass type special attacker, boasting a special attack stat of 125. The transformation from Roselia to Roserade adds a cape like extension of leaves and changes the arm roses into elaborate bouquets. These bouquets can fire poison thorns like projectiles, effectively giving Roserade both melee and ranged combat capabilities. The mask like pattern on Roserade's face has led some to compare it to a masquerade ball attendee, fitting its elegant and mysterious demeanor. Roserade's hidden ability, Technician, boosts the power of weaker moves, allowing it to use combinations of status moves and attacks that catch opponents off guard. The sweet aroma Roserade constantly emits can mesmerize opponents, lowering their guard before Roserade strikes with toxic attacks. Despite its graceful appearance, Roserade possesses ruthless fighting instincts, using its beauty to deceive enemies before delivering deadly poison. The whips extending from Roserade's arms can reach surprising lengths, giving it control over a wide battle area and allowing it to strike from unexpected angles. Roserade's mastery over both grass and poison moves makes it versatile, capable of adapting its strategy based on the opponent's weaknesses. The relationship between Bordeaux, Roselia, and Roserade demonstrates one of the more complete evolutionary families in Sinnoh, with each stage showing clear progression in power and sophistication. Cranidos brings the fossil Pokemon formula to Sinnoh, revived from the skull fossil found in the underground. Its design draws inspiration from Pachycephalosaurus, dinosaurs famous for their thick, domed skulls used in headbutting contests. Cranidos possesses the highest attack stat of any non legendary, non mega evolved Pokemon that can be obtained before the 8th gym badge, reaching 125 at its base. This incredible offensive power comes at a cost, as Cranidos has paper thin special defense and relatively low HP. The skull Cranidos uses for headbutting attacks is several inches thick, composed of bone dense enough to crack boulders without suffering injury. In ancient times, Cranidos lived in rocky, mountainous areas where they would compete for territory through headbutting contests that could be heard from miles away. The stubbornness Cranidos displays in battle reflects the territorial nature of its dinosaur inspiration, refusing to back down even when clearly outmatched. Granados's brain is surprisingly small for its head size, with most of the skull volume dedicated to protective bone and shock absorbing tissue. This anatomical feature explains why Granados can repeatedly smash its head into solid objects without suffering brain damage. Rampardos evolves from Granados at level 30, becoming even more powerful but retaining the same dangerous fragility. The dome on Rampardos's head has grown even thicker and harder, capable of demolishing buildings with a running headbutt. Rampardos's base attack stat of 165 places it among the strongest physical attackers in the entire Pokémon world, surpassing many legendary Pokémon. However, this power remains underutilized in competitive play due to Rampardos's low speed and terrible defensive stats. In its prime, ancient Rampardos could level forests by headbutting trees, creating clearings where they established their territories. The spikes protruding from Rampardos's skull serve as additional weapons during headbutt attacks, dealing cutting damage in addition to blunt force trauma. Rampardos's combat strategy centers entirely on overwhelming opponents with raw power before they can exploit its defensive weaknesses. The fossil revival process sometimes produces Rampardos with slightly different coloration than their ancient counterparts, suggesting that modern resurrection technology cannot perfectly replicate extinct Pokémon. Rampardos's extinction in ancient times likely resulted from environmental changes that made its headbutting hunting method ineffective against new prey species. Shieldon provides the defensive counterpart to Granados, revived from the armor fossil found in the underground. Its design inspiration comes from ceratopsian dinosaurs, particularly Protoceratops, known for their face shields. Shieldon possesses incredible defense for its evolutionary stage, with a base stat of 118 that rivals fully evolved rock types. This defensive prowess allows Shieldon to tank physical hits that would shatter most Pokemon its size, making it an excellent choice for players who prefer defensive strategies. The face shield Shieldon displays is composed of incredibly dense bone that can deflect attacks from predators several times its size. Ancient Shieldon would gather in herds where they formed defensive circles, protecting young and vulnerable members with their armored faces. The fossil record suggests that Shieldon fed on plants, using its beak to strip leaves from branches and its shield to push through dense vegetation. Shieldon's shy nature contrasts sharply with Granados's aggression, as it prefers to hide behind its shield rather than actively seeking confrontation. The polishing marks visible on many Shieldon shields come from the Pokemon's habit of rubbing its face against smooth stones to maintain the armor's integrity. Bastiodon represents the ultimate defensive wall among Sinnoh's fossil Pokemon, evolving from Shieldon at level 30. The castle-like appearance of Bastiodon's face shield has led to its classification as the Shield Pokemon, a name it lives up to through incredible bulk. Bastiodon's base defense stat reaches 168, making it one of the highest defensive Pokemon in the game without considering stat boosting abilities or items. This defensive specialization comes at the cost of speed, as Bastiodon moves ponderously and almost always attacks second in battle. The face shield has expanded to cover Bastiodon's entire head and most of its body, providing comprehensive protection from frontal assaults. In ancient times, groups of Bastiodon would form living walls to protect their young from predatory Pokémon like Tyranitar and Aerodactyl. The shield's composition includes trace amounts of metal, giving Bastiodon its steel typing and explaining why its armor can withstand even powerful attacks. Bastiodon's combat strategy involves weathering opponents' attacks while slowly wearing them down with its own moves, relying on superior endurance to win battles. The extinction of Bastiodon's species likely resulted from its specialized diet becoming unavailable as Sinnoh's climate changed during prehistoric periods. Modern trainers sometimes struggle to use Bastiodon effectively due to its 4 times weakness to fighting and ground type moves, which are common in competitive play. Burmy represents one of the most unique Pokemon concepts in Generation 4, changing its appearance based on its last battle environment. The three forms, Plant Cloak, Sandy Cloak, and Trash Cloak, each provide different defensive typings upon evolution, making Burmy remarkably adaptive. Burmy's behavior of creating cloaks from surrounding materials mirrors real world bagworm moths, which construct protective cases from silk and environmental debris. The larval appearance of Burmy emphasizes its status as a permanently immature Pokemon when male, as it will never reach a fully developed form. Only female Burmy evolve into Wormadam, while males transform into Mothim, creating an unusual gender based evolution split. The materials Burmy incorporates into its cloak provide more than just camouflage. They also offer genuine protection from predators and harsh weather. Burmy's cloak must be rebuilt if damaged or removed, a process that takes several hours and leaves the Pokemon vulnerable during reconstruction. Wild Burmy populations tend to cluster in specific environments, with entire groups adopting the same cloak form based on their habitat. The decision to create 3 distinct forms for Burmy demonstrated Game Freak's willingness to experiment with environmental interaction mechanics in Generation 4. Wormadam exists in 3 permanent forms, depending on what cloak Burmy wore when it evolved at level 20. Plant Cloak. Wormadam gains bug and grass typing. Sandy Cloak becomes bug and ground, and Trash Cloak receives bug and steel, creating 3 distinct tactical options. Each form learns different moves naturally, with Plant Cloak focusing on special attacks, Sandy Cloak balancing offense and defense, and Trash Cloak emphasizing physical bulk. The permanence of Wormadam's form represents a biological commitment to a specific ecological niche, similar to how some real insect species develop differently based on environmental factors during metamorphosis. Wormadam's moth like appearance contrasts with its inability to fly, as its wings are purely decorative and non functional for flight. The 6 legs Wormadam possesses allow it to climb various surfaces easily, making it adept at navigating both natural and urban environments. Trash cloak wormadam holds particular fascination among fans due to its unique bug and steel typing, which provides excellent defensive resistances. The relationship between environment and permanent form in wormadam raises questions about Pokemon biology and whether exposure during critical development stages can fundamentally alter a Pokemon's type. Wild wormadam typically maintain territories close to where they evolved, rarely traveling far from the environment that shaped their final form. Mothim represents the male evolution of Burmy, abandoning the cloak entirely and gaining the ability to fly freely. The transformation from the sedentary Burmy to the mobile Mothim demonstrates sexual dimorphism taken to an extreme, with males and females becoming entirely different species. Mothim's wings allow it to search for nectar from flowers, functioning as a pollinator while also giving it tactical mobility that Wormadam lacks. The four wings Mothim possesses beat incredibly rapidly, creating a faint humming sound that can be heard when Mothim swarms gather during breeding season. Despite being a bug and flying type, Mothim possesses decent special attack, allowing it to function as a more offensively oriented Pokemon than its Wormadam counterparts. Mothim's signature move, it doesn't have one specifically, but it learns air slash naturally, giving it a reliable flying type special attack with a flinch chance. The antennae on Mothim's head can detect the pheromones released by female Burmy and Wormadam from over a mile away, helping it locate potential mates. Wild Mothim live solitary lives outside of breeding season, traveling widely in search of food and avoiding predator rich areas. The decision to make Burmese evolution gender dependent added depth to the Pokemon's biology and created interesting strategic considerations for trainers deciding which form to pursue. Combi introduces one of the most distinctive gender differences in any Pokemon species, with only females capable of evolving. The three-body structure of Combi reflects the biological reality of bee colonies, where multiple individuals work together as a single organism. Each of the three heads has a slightly different personality, with the bottom middle face being the dominant one that makes decisions. Combi's ability to fly despite having relatively small wings can be explained by the same physics defying principles that allow real bees to fly with seemingly inadequate wing to body ratios. The hexagonal patterns visible on Combi's body reference the geometric perfection of honeycomb construction, one of nature's most efficient structural designs. Male Combi serve primarily as drones in wild colonies, their inability to evolve reflecting how male bees in real hives exist solely to mate with queens. The honeycomb bee produces is incredibly sweet and nutritious, sought after by both Pokemon and humans for its energy boosting properties. Wild comb bee swarms can contain hundreds of individuals working together to gather pollen and defend their hive from predators. The bottom face on female combi displays a red marking that distinguishes them from males, though determining gender in dim light or from a distance can be challenging. Vespiquen evolves from female combi at level 21, transforming into the commanding queen of the hive. The abdomen of Vespiquen contains multiple chambers where it can generate and control combi drones, effectively functioning as a living hive. These chambers allow Vespiquen to use its signature moves, attack order, defend order, and heal order, each commanding the combi swarm to perform specific functions. The dress like lower body of Vespiquen contains the egg laying organs that allow it to produce new combi continuously, maintaining the hive's population. Vespiquen possesses one of the most complex movesets in Sinnoh, with abilities that allow it to function as an attacker, defender, or supporter, depending on battle conditions. The crown like crest on Vespiquen's head marks it as royalty within Pokemon Bee Society, commanding absolute loyalty from all combi in its colony. Wild Vespiquen colonies can span enormous territories, with thousands of combi gathering resources under the Queen's direction. The relationship between Vespiquen and combi mirrors real-world eusocial insect colonies, where genetic relationships ensure cooperation and prevent competition. Vespiquen's defensive stats allow it to withstand significant punishment, as a queen must survive to maintain the colony's existence. The breeding system of Vespiquen creates interesting questions about Pokemon reproduction, as Vespiquen can apparently produce combi without requiring a male partner. Pachirisu serves as Sinnoh's regional electric type rodent, though it breaks from tradition by being significantly less powerful than Pikachu or Plusle and Minun. Its design draws from squirrels and chipmunks, particularly their habit of storing food in cheek pouches for later consumption. Pachirisu's most notable achievement came during the 2014 Pokemon World Championships, when Sejun Park used one to win the Masters Division, demonstrating that even seemingly weak Pokemon can excel with proper strategy. The electricity Pachirisu generates comes from the static buildup in its fur, which becomes charged as it rubs against trees and the ground. Pachirisu's tail functions as both a blanket for warmth and a source of electrical discharge, making it a versatile tool for survival in Sinnoh's varied climates. The cheek pouches Pachirisu uses to store electricity can also hold berries and other food items, though storing both simultaneously risks spoiling the food with electrical discharge. Wild Pachirisu are incredibly social, often living in large groups where they share food and groom each other's fur to maintain its electrical properties. The cute appearance of Pachirisu makes it popular as a pet Pokemon despite its relatively low battle capabilities compared to other electric types. Pachirisu's defensive move pool includes Charm, Sweet Kiss, and Entrainment, making it surprisingly effective at disrupting opponent strategies through status effects. The love Sinnoh's player base has for Pachirisu stems partly from its appearance in the anime as Dawn's Pokemon, where it displayed energetic and mischievous behavior. Buizel brings a water-focused mammal to Sinnoh's aquatic roster based on weasels and otters known for their swimming prowess. The flotation sac around Buizel's neck inflates with air, allowing it to float effortlessly on water surfaces while scouting for prey or danger. This collar also serves as a life preserver, ensuring that Buizel never sinks even if knocked unconscious in water. Buizel's two tails rotate like propellers when it swims, generating enough thrust to reach speeds of over 60 miles per hour in water. The split tail design provides superior steering control compared to a single tail, allowing Buizel to make sharp turns while pursuing fleeing Magikarp and other prey. Buizel's playful nature makes it popular with young trainers, as it enjoys surfing on waves and playing in streams during downtime. The orange coloration of Buizel provides surprisingly effective camouflage during sunrise and sunset when light refracts through water at specific angles. Wild Buizel establish territories along riverbanks where they hunt for fish and practice their swimming techniques. The physical prowess Buizel displays in water contrasts with its relative clumsiness on land, where its short legs make running difficult. Buizel's pre-evolution status means it appears frequently in the early routes of Sinnoh, giving players easy access to a capable water type before reaching major cities. Floatzel evolves from Buizel at level 26, growing significantly larger and developing enhanced swimming capabilities. The flotation sac expands dramatically during evolution, now able to support not just Floatzel, but also other Pokémon or even human trainers. This buoyancy adaptation makes Floatzel invaluable for water rescue operations, as it can tow struggling swimmers to safety with minimal effort. Floatzel's tail has fused into a single, powerful rudder that provides incredible thrust, though it sacrifices some of the maneuverability that Buizel's split tail offered. The streamlined body shape of Floatzel reduces water resistance to near zero, allowing it to glide through water with perfect hydrodynamic efficiency. Floatzel's speed stat of 115 makes it one of the fastest water types in Sinnoh, able to outpace many opponents, both in water and on land. The muscular build Floatzel develops during evolution provides the power necessary to maintain its high-speed swimming, requiring it to consume large amounts of food daily. Wild Floatzel often serve as leaders of Buizel groups, using their superior strength to defend territory and teach younger members advanced swimming techniques. The relationship between trainers and Floatzel often extends beyond battle, with many Floatzel serving as transport across Sinnoh's numerous waterways. Floatzel's combination of speed, power, and utility makes it one of the most practical Pokémon for a Sinnoh playthrough, valuable in both combat and exploration. Cherubi dangles from tree branches by the stem on its head, resembling a cherry waiting to be picked. The small ball attached to Cherubi is not a second head, but rather a nutrient reserve that Cherubi will absorb before evolution. This reservoir contains concentrated sugar and minerals that Cherubi has gathered through photosynthesis, stored for the energy-intensive transformation into Cherum. The red coloration of healthy Cherubi comes from anthocyanins, the same compounds that make cherries red in our world, suggesting similar biochemistry. Cherubi's weight fluctuates throughout the day as it performs photosynthesis, becoming heavier during peak sunlight hours and lighter at night. The stem connecting Cherubi to branches is remarkably strong, capable of supporting several times cherubi's body weight during windstorms. Wild cherubi prefer to grow on trees in Floroma Meadow and along Route 205, where sunlight is abundant and predators are relatively rare. The sweet scent cherubi emits attracts bug type Pokémon, which serve as pollinators by carrying cherubi's pollen between trees. Cherubi's evolution method requires only leveling during sunny weather, reflecting its dependence on sunlight for growth and development. The nutritional reserve attached to cherubi tastes incredibly sweet if consumed, though doing so would prevent the cherubi from evolving naturally. Cherum transforms dramatically based on whether the sun is shining, existing in overcast and sunshine forms. This form change happens instantly in response to weather conditions, making Cherum one of the most reactive Pokemon to environmental factors. In overcast form, Cherum's petals close protectively around its body, conserving energy and moisture while waiting for better conditions. The dull purple coloration of overcast form provides camouflage against tree bark, protecting Cherum from predators during periods of vulnerability. When sunlight appears, Cherum blooms into its sunshine form, spreading pink petals that maximize its surface area for photosynthesis. The transformation from overcast to sunshine form increases Cherum's movement speed and overall energy level, reflecting the boost plants receive from optimal growing conditions. Cherum's ability, Flower Gift, boosts the attack and special defense of itself and its allies during harsh sunlight, making it surprisingly effective in sun-based team compositions. The petals Cherum displays in sunshine form release a sweet fragrance that attracts other grass-type Pokemon and promotes plant growth in the surrounding area. Wild Cherum colonies can transform entire forests during sunny days, with hundreds of Cherum blooming simultaneously to create spectacular displays of color. The relationship between Cherum and weather demonstrates how deeply environmental factors influence some Pokemon species, affecting not just their appearance, but their entire biological function. Cherum's dual forms make it unpredictable in battle, as opponents must prepare for either a defensive wall or an offensive supporter, depending on weather conditions. Shellos exists in two distinct forms, West Sea and East Sea, depending on which side of Mount Coronet they're found. This regional variation represents one of the earliest examples of form differences based on geographic location within a single region. West Sea Shellos displays pink coloration with a rounded head shape, while East Sea Shellos shows blue-green colors with a pointed head crest. The physical differences between forms go beyond mere aesthetics, as they suggest that Shellos populations on opposite sides of Mount Coronet have diverged genetically over thousands of years. Shellos's soft, boneless body allows it to squeeze through tight spaces between rocks, escaping predators and accessing tide pools where food accumulates. The mucus coating Shellos's skin provides protection from salt water and prevents dehydration when it ventures onto land. Wild Shellos can regenerate lost body parts, a trait common among sea slugs in our world. making them incredibly resilient to injuries. The diet of shellows consists primarily of algae and small aquatic invertebrates, which they filter from water using specialized organs in their mouth. Shellos' simple nervous system makes it relatively unintelligent compared to other Pokémon, operating mostly on instinct rather than learned behavior. The division of Shellos into two forms created the interesting collection challenges for players trying to complete their Pokédex, as both forms must be registered separately. Gastrodon evolves from Shellos at level 30, retaining the form it had as Shellos permanently upon evolution. The size increase during evolution allows Gastrodon to inhabit deeper waters where larger prey and fewer predators exist. Gastrodon's water and ground typing gives it only one weakness to grass type moves, making it exceptionally difficult to counter without specific type advantages. The increased intelligence Gastrodon displays compared to Shellos suggests significant brain development during evolution, allowing for more complex hunting strategies and social behaviors. Gastrodon's ability Storm Drain redirects all water type moves to itself while boosting its special attack, making it an excellent pivot in double battles. The mucus Gastrodon secretes has medicinal properties, particularly effective at treating burns and skin conditions in both Pokemon and humans. Wild Gastrodon establish territories in coastal areas where they filter feed on plankton and small fish, maintaining ecological balance in their habitats. The shell-like protrusions on Gastrodon's back are not actually shells, but rather thickened skin deposits that provide minimal protection from attacks. Gastrodon populations serve as indicators of ocean health in Sinnoh, as they're sensitive to pollution and changes in water temperature. The durability and type resistance Gastrodon provides make it valuable for players struggling with the water type focus of many Sinnoh gym battles. Gastrodon's bulk and defensive typing allow it to function as a reliable check to many common threats in competitive play, despite its relatively low base stat total. Dreyfloon's disturbing Pokédex entries describe it kidnapping children who mistake it for a balloon, making it one of the darker Pokémon concepts. The gas filling Dreyfloon's body comes from the souls of people and Pokémon, suggesting that Dreyfloon feeds on life energy or memories. Despite these creepy origins, Drifloon behaves playfully most of the time, drifting on wind currents and bobbing gently when approached. The heart-shaped tuft on Drifloon's head serves as both a sensory organ and a lure, drawing curious children and small Pokémon closer. Drifloon appears only on Fridays in front of the Valley Windworks, creating one of the most memorable recurring events in Sinnoh. This limited availability frustrated completionists, but added mystique to Drifloon, making each Friday encounter feel special. The string hanging from Drifloon's body isn't actually string, but rather a physical manifestation of spiritual energy, which explains why it moves independently sometimes. Wild Drifloon float aimlessly through the sky, traveling wherever wind currents take them without particular destinations in mind. The gentle, almost lazy movement patterns Drifloon displays belie its sinister nature as this passivity makes potential victims lower their guard. Drifloon's ghost and flying typing makes it unique, being one of only two Pokemon lines with this combination. Drifblim evolves from Drifloon at level 28, growing large enough to carry people through the air. The evolution dramatically increases the amount of gas Drifblim contains, allowing it to achieve considerable lift capacity. Drifblim's ability to control its buoyancy by generating or venting gas makes it incredibly maneuverable despite its large size. The Pokédex describes Drifblim appearing during twilight, adding to the eerie atmosphere surrounding this Pokémon line. The multiple wisps hanging from Drifblim's body can grab onto objects or people, functioning like tentacles despite being made of spiritual energy. Drifblim's signature move, Ominous Wind, has a small chance of raising all its stats when used, making it unpredictable in battle. The X-shaped pattern on Drifblim's face resembles a prohibition symbol, possibly warning others away from its dangerous nature. Wild Drifblim travel in small groups called flights, drifting together through Sinnoh's evening skies in spectral displays. The relationship between Drifblim and weather systems fascinates meteorologists, as Drifblim movements often predict coming storms. Trainers who use Drifblim must carefully manage its aftermath ability, which damages opponents when Drifblim faints, creating a kamikaze tactical option. The size and lift capacity of Drifblim make it practical for transportation, though most people feel uneasy riding on what's essentially a ghost balloon filled with captured souls. Buniri introduces a normal type rabbit to Sinnoh, characterized by its incredible leg strength and initially cold personality. The rolled up ears Buniri displays aren't a fashion choice, but rather a defensive mechanism, as unrolling them can deliver powerful slapping attacks. Buniri starts with 0 base friendship when caught, lower than any other Pokemon in the game, reflecting its distrustful nature toward humans. This extreme initial distrust requires patient trainers to slowly build trust through consistent care and battle experience. The powerful legs Buniri possesses allow it to leap several times its body height, essential for escaping predators in the wild. Buniri's fur provides excellent insulation against cold weather, allowing it to survive comfortably in Sinnoh's snow-covered regions. The pink accents on Buniri's ears and legs serve as visual signals to other Buniri, communicating emotional states and social status. Wild Buniri form loose social groups that share information about food sources and predator sightings through a complex series of ear signals. The evolution method requiring high friendship emphasizes the bond between trainer and Pokemon, making the eventual Lopunny feel earned. Buniri's combat style focuses on physical attacks despite its cute appearance, using jump kick and other fighting type moves effectively. Lopunny evolves from Buniri with maximum friendship, transforming into a graceful and powerful normal type. The long ears Lopunny now keeps unfurled reach impressive lengths and contain incredibly dense muscle, capable of crushing stone with single strikes. Lopunny's incredibly soft fur is highly prized, with some unethical traders catching them specifically to sell the fur, though this practice is illegal in most regions. The tufts of fur on Lopunny's wrists and the ankles aren't just decorative, they function as natural shock absorbers that protect its joints during high impact moves. Lopunny's speed stat and access to strong physical moves make it a capable sweeper, particularly when holding normal gem or using its mega evolution in later generations. The relationship between trainer and Lopunny typically remains close after evolution, as the trust built to achieve evolution creates lasting bonds. Wild Lopunny often serve as guardians for groups of Baniri, using their superior strength and speed to chase away predators. The social structure in Lopunny warrens revolves around the strongest individuals defending territory, while younger Baniri practice fighting techniques. Lopunny's ability to learn a wide variety of elemental punches through TMs makes it surprisingly versatile in battle, able to adapt to many different opponents. The mega evolution of Lopunny, introduced in later generations, transforms it into a fighting type powerhouse with devastating attack and speed stats, finally allowing it to compete with top tier threats. Glameow brings a distinctly feline personality to Sinnoh, characterized by fickleness and vanity. The spring like tail Glameow possesses can coil and uncoil with remarkable speed, functioning as both a weapon and a tool for balance. Glameow's tendency to switch affections between trainers constantly makes it difficult to maintain high friendship, though it respects strength and consistency. The claws Glameow keeps retracted most of the time extend to impressive lengths when threatened, capable of leaving deep scratches in wood and stone. Glameow's eyes can detect movement in near total darkness, making it an effective nocturnal hunter despite being primarily active during the day. The meowing sounds Glameow produces vary in pitch and pattern to communicate different needs and emotions, similar to how real cats develop dialects with their owners. Wild Glameow are solitary hunters, establishing territories that they defend aggressively against other Glameow. The grooming behavior Glameow displays isn't just for cleanliness, it also redistributes natural oils through their fur to maintain its lustrous appearance. Glameow appears exclusively in Pokémon Pearl and Brilliant Pearl, making it a version specific Pokémon that Pearl players often use to trade with Diamond players for Stunky. The popularity of Glameow stems partly from its appearance as one of Team Galactic's signature Pokémon, used by various grunts throughout the game. Purigly evolves from Glameow at level 38, becoming significantly larger and more aggressive. The name Purigly plays on the irony of an ugly evolution for a vain Pokemon, though Purigly maintains its prideful personality despite its less graceful appearance. The dramatic weight gain during evolution allows Purigly to use its body as a weapon, crushing opponents with its bulk. Purigly's thick coat hides powerful muscles underneath, combining surprising strength with deceptive appearances. The forked tail Purigly develops functions like a belt, able to tighten around its waist to create a slimmer silhouette when it wants to appear more attractive. Purigly's speed stat of 112 makes it one of the fastest normal types, able to strike quickly before opponents react. The aggressive territorial behavior Purigly displays often leads to conflicts with other Pokémon, as it refuses to share space with perceived rivals. Wild Purigly will claim entire buildings or neighborhoods as their territory, driving out other Pokemon through persistent harassment. The combination of speed, power, and bulk makes Purigly surprisingly effective in battle, though its shallow move pool limits strategic options. Purigly's role as Mars's signature Pokemon in Team Galactic gives it narrative importance, appearing during several key story battles throughout the game. Stunky introduces a poison and dark type combination unique to its evolutionary line at the time. The spray Stunky releases from its rear can clear an area of all other Pokemon and humans, with a stench powerful enough to cause temporary unconsciousness. This defense mechanism keeps predators at bay, allowing Stunky to forage for food with minimal threats. The purple and white coloration warns potential attackers of Stunky's toxic nature, following the same principles as poison dart frogs and other venomous animals. Stunky's relatively low stats reflect its status as an early game Pokemon, though its type combination provides interesting tactical options. The fluid Stunky sprays contains complex chemical compounds that take weeks to fully air out from clothing and fur, making Stunky attacks memorably unpleasant. Wild Stunky typically live in underground burrows where they store food and raise young away from the surface. The nocturnal lifestyle Stunky adopts helps it avoid diurnal predators that might overcome its stench through sheer determination or lack of sense of smell. Stunky appears exclusively in Pokemon Diamond and Brilliant Diamond, serving as the version counterpart to Pearl's Glamio. The dark typing Stunky possesses gives it resistance to psychic type moves, making it useful against Sinnoh's many psychic type trainers. Skuntank evolves from Stunky at level 34, growing larger and developing additional poison reservoirs. The tail Skuntank uses to spray its noxious fluid has grown large enough to function as a weapon in its own right, able to slam opponents while simultaneously drenching them in poison. Skuntank's spray range extends significantly from Stunky, able to hit targets over 100 feet away with remarkable accuracy. The chemical composition of Skuntank's poison becomes more complex after evolution, including compounds that cause paralysis in addition to its nauseating smell. Skuntank's bulk increases substantially during evolution, giving it enough durability to weather hits while it sets up status effects or attacks with powerful dark type moves. The stripes on Skuntank's body become more pronounced after evolution, serving as clearer warning signals to potential threats. Wild Skuntank establish territories that they mark with small sprays of their fluid, creating invisible boundaries that other Pokemon instinctively avoid. The diet of Skuntank shifts toward larger prey after evolution, hunting small Pokemon like Bidoof and Pachirisu rather than the insects Stunky prefers. Skuntank's move pool includes powerful options like Flamethrower and Explosion, giving it surprising coverage and making it unpredictable in battle. The combination of bulk, power, and utility makes Skuntank one of the more underrated Pokemon from Generation 4, capable of filling multiple roles depending on team needs. Bronzer floats through ancient ruins and historic buildings, having existed in Sinnoh for over 2,000 years. The bronze material composing Bronzor's body doesn't rust or corrode, suggesting that it isn't actually bronze, but rather some unknown metallic compound. Ancient people used Bronzor as mirrors before modern glass mirrors existed, polishing the surface until it achieved a reflective shine. The pattern engraved on Bronzor's back represents ancient Sinnoh script, though scholars have been unable to fully translate its meaning. Bronzor's steel and psychic typing gives it impressive defensive resistances, taking reduced damage from 9 different types. The age of individual Bronzor varies wildly, with some specimens potentially being over 2 millennia old based on archaeological evidence. Bronzer's method of movement, levitation without visible propulsion, remains one of the mysteries Pokemon researchers haven't fully explained. Wild Bronzer often gather at historical sites, as if drawn to places where humans once performed important rituals or ceremonies. The connection between Bronzer and ancient Sinnoh religion suggests they may have served ceremonial purposes in pre modern times. Bronzer's evolution requires leveling to 33, representing the slow development of an ancient artifact gaining sentience over centuries. Bronzong evolves from Bronzer, growing significantly larger and gaining the appearance of a bell. Ancient people rang Bronzong during rain calling ceremonies, believing its sound could summon storms and bring rain to parched farmland. The hollow interior of Bronzong creates a resonating chamber that amplifies sounds, making its cry audible for miles. Bronzong's ability to learn rain dance and other weather altering moves supports the historical claim that it could influence weather patterns. The patina visible on old Bronzong specimens provides clues about their age, with the thickest coatings indicating centuries of exposure to elements. Bronzong's massive weight of 412 pounds reflects its solid metal construction, making it one of the heaviest non legendary Pokemon. The symbols etched into Bronzong's body glow faintly when it uses psychic type moves, suggesting that these engravings channel and focus its mental powers. Wild Bronzong prefer to remain stationary for long periods, sometimes standing motionless for months until disturbed by humans or Pokemon. The defensive typing and impressive bulk make Bronzong a premier physical wall, capable of tanking hits that would destroy less sturdy Pokemon. Bronzong's access to Trick Room makes it valuable in competitive play, allowing it to support slower teammates by reversing speed mechanics. The mystery surrounding Bronzong's origins and purpose continues to fascinate historians and Pokemon researchers alike, with new theories emerging regularly. Chateau stands as the only Pokemon capable of learning chatter, a move that incorporates actual recorded sounds from the player's microphone. This unique mechanic allowed players to teach Chateau custom phrases, creating personalized battle experiences unlike any other Pokemon. The tongue chateau possesses mimics human speech with remarkable accuracy, repeating words and phrases it hears from trainers and other humans. Wild chateaux often gather in flocks where they practice mimicking each other's calls, creating chaotic symphonies of copied sounds. The musical note shape of Chateau's head isn't coincidental. It actually helps channel and amplify sounds through specialized structures similar to a bird's syrinx. Chateau's ability to mimic extends beyond voices, including mechanical sounds, other Pokémon cries, and even music with remarkable fidelity. The limited distribution of Chateau in Sinnoh makes it somewhat rare, appearing primarily through the trade, with a specific NPC rather than wild encounters. Chateau's base stat total doesn't make it particularly powerful, but its unique gimmick and charm have earned it a dedicated following among fans. The removal of Chatter's microphone functionality in later generations diminished some of Chateau's uniqueness, though it remains memorable for those who experienced the original implementation. Chateau represents an ambitious attempt by Game Freak to incorporate hardware features into Pokemon gameplay, though technical and potential abuse issues ultimately limited its long term success. Spirit exists as one of the most mysterious Pokemon in Sinnoh, bound to an odd keystone through an ancient seal. The lore surrounding Spiritomb describes it as formed from 108 spirits, corresponding to the 108 earthly temptations in Buddhist philosophy. Spirit ghost and dark typing gave it no weaknesses until Generation 6 introduced Fairy type, making it nearly impossible to exploit defensively. The method of obtaining Spiritomb requires inserting an odd keystone into the hallowed tower and then talking to 32 different players in the underground, creating one of the game's most elaborate unlock requirements. This complex acquisition process made Spiritomb feel genuinely special, rewarding dedicated players who took time to complete the requirements. The swirling purple mist composing Spiritomb's body contains the trapped spirits, occasionally showing faces of the individual souls within. Spiritomb's behavior reflects its malicious origins, described as being mischievous and vindictive toward those who disturbed its imprisonment. The keystone serves as both Spiritomb's anchor to the physical world and its prison, preventing the spirits from dispersing but also giving them form. Wild Spiritomb don't technically exist outside of specific locations where keystones were placed centuries ago by ancient Sinnoh mystics. Champion Cynthia's use of Spiritomb as one of her signature Pokemon elevated its status among competitive players, making it one of the most feared defensive walls in Generation 4. Spiritomb's perfect defensive typing and access to Will-O-Wisp, Calm Mind, and other setup moves made it exceptionally difficult to remove without specific counters. Gable introduces Sinnoh's pseudo-legendary line, a dragon that lives in warm caves heated by geothermal activity. The stubby body and enormous mouth give Gibble an endearing appearance despite its dragon-type classification. Gable's method of movement involves burrowing through soil and sand rather than walking on the surface, explaining its ground typing. The cave systems Gibble inhabits often connect to volcanic chambers deep underground, providing the warmth these cold blooded Pokemon require. Gibble's teeth are designed to grip and tear rather than chew, swallowing prey whole after weakening them with powerful bites. The rarity of Gibble in the wild, appearing only in Wayward Cave's hidden area, made it one of the most sought after Pokemon in Diamond and Pearl. Players who discovered Gable early gained access to one of the strongest Pokemon lines available during a standard playthrough. The rough, sandpaper like texture of Gibble's skin provides abrasion resistance while burrowing through rocky soil. Wild Gibble are territorial, attacking intruders who venture into their cave systems without mercy. The evolutionary line Gibble belongs to mirrors real world shark development, with each stage becoming progressively more streamlined and predatory. Gabite evolves from Gibble at level 24, developing more pronounced features and becoming significantly more aggressive. The fins growing from Gabite's arms function as weapons, sharp enough to cut through wood and bone with single strikes. Gabite's digging speed increases dramatically from Gibble, allowing it to tunnel through earth so quickly that it becomes almost impossible to follow. The jewels adorning Gabite's body are actually hardened scale deposits that contain immense value, leading to illegal poaching of wild Gabite populations. These gemstones grow naturally from Gabite's diet of specific minerals found in its underground habitat. Gabite's increased size necessitates larger hunting grounds, forcing it to expand its territory and compete with other predators. The cave systems Gabite inhabits bear distinctive claw marks from its excavations, serving as warnings to other Pokemon. Wild Gabite rarely surface during daytime, preferring to hunt during twilight hours when their prey is most active. The combat prowess Gabite displays represents the midpoint between Gibble's cuteness and Garchomp's terrifying power. Gabite's move pool expansion during this evolutionary stage grants access to Dragonclaw and Dig, making it considerably more dangerous in battle. Garchomp reaches the pinnacle of the line at level 48, becoming one of the most feared Pokemon in competitive battle. The streamlined body and razor sharp fins allow Garchomp to move through underground tunnels at incredible speeds, creating the distinctive sandstorm swirls it's known for. Garchomp's base speed stat of 102, combined with its massive attack stat of 130, makes it a premier physical sweeper. The dragon and ground typing provides excellent offensive coverage, while giving Garchomp only two weaknesses, Ice and Dragon, though the 4 times Ice weakness can be problematic. Garchomp's signature feature, the retractable fins on its arms, fold against its body when moving through tight spaces and extend when battling or flying. Yes, flying. Despite lacking the flying type, Garchomp can soar through the air by catching wind currents, a fact highlighted by its ability to learn fly. The territorial nature of Garchomp makes wild specimens incredibly dangerous, attacking anything that enters their domain without hesitation. Garchomp's role as Cynthia's ace Pokemon cemented its status as one of the most iconic Pokemon from Generation 4. The black coloration of Garchomp's body helps it blend into dark cave interiors, giving it an element of surprise when ambushing prey. Garchomp's Mega Evolution, introduced in Generation 6, increases its already formidable stats, but changes its ability from Sand Veil to Sand Force, affecting its competitive viability. The sheer power and versatility of Garchomp made it one of the most commonly used Pokémon in competitive play, eventually earning it a ban to Uber's tier in some competitive formats. Riolu represents the baby form of Lucario, introduced as a Sinnoh species, despite Lucario's earlier appearance in promotional materials. The aura sensing abilities Riolu possesses allow it to detect the emotions and intentions of humans and Pokemon from considerable distances. This empathic connection explains why Riolu can only evolve through high friendship during the daytime, as it must trust its trainer completely before transformation. The black appendages on Riolu's head function as aura sensors, becoming more sensitive as Riolu matures and strengthens its powers. Riolu's rarity in the wild, appearing primarily through special events or as gifts from NPCs, made it a prized Pokemon for collectors. The fighting type classification reflects Riolu's martial arts training instincts, practicing combat forms even without formal instruction. Wild Riolu often seek out strong trainers, testing their worthiness through battle before deciding whether to join them. The steel blue coloration of Riolu's body hints at its future steel typing upon evolution, representing latent metallurgical abilities. Riolu's relatively low base stats make it weak initially, requiring patient training and bonding before it can evolve into the powerful Lucario. The emotional intelligence Riolu displays makes it popular as a companion Pokemon beyond its battle capabilities, forming deep bonds with trainers who treat it well. Lucario evolves from Riolu with maximum friendship during daytime, gaining steel typing and dramatically increased stats. The fighting and steel type combination gives Lucario incredible defensive resistances, taking reduced damage from 8 different types while maintaining strong offensive presence. The spikes protruding from Lucario's paws and chest contain concentrated aura energy, allowing it to fire aura sphere attacks without physical contact. Lucario's signature move, Aura Sphere, never misses its target, representing the precision granted by aura sensing. The aura sensing abilities reach their peak in Lucario, allowing it to predict opponent movements and see through solid objects by detecting life force. Lucario's appearance in Super Smash Bros. As a playable fighter increased its mainstream popularity beyond the Pokemon fanbase. The role Lucario plays in Pokemon lore positions it as a guardian species, protecting humans and Pokemon from threats through its noble warrior traditions. Wild Lucario are extremely rare, typically appearing only in regions with strong spiritual energy or ancient martial arts traditions. The base stat distribution gives Lucario balanced offensive capabilities, able to function as both physical and special attacker depending on training. Lucario's Mega Evolution enhances its offensive stats dramatically while maintaining its defensive resistances, creating one of the most versatile mega evolutions. The emotional connection required to trigger mega evolution reflects Lucario's aura based powers, requiring perfect synchronization between trainer and Pokemon. Hippopotas introduces a hippopotamus based ground type with fascinating sand related biology. The sand stored within Hippopotas's body can be expelled through pores in its skin, creating localized sandstorms for protection. This sand isn't regular sediment, but rather specially processed particles that Hippopotas's body treats and stores internally. The brown coloration of male hippopotas versus the tan coloration of females represents one of the most visible gender differences among Pokemon. Hippopotases' habitat preferences include deserts and beaches where sand is abundant, allowing it to replenish its internal reserves. The mucus coating. Hippopotas's skin prevents the stored sand from escaping uncontrollably, acting as both lubricant and sealant. Wild hippopotas often rest completely submerged in sand during hot daylight hours, with only their eyes and nostrils exposed. The territorial behavior hippopotas displays intensifies during breeding season when males compete for access to prime bathing areas. Hippopotas's relatively even base stats make it a balanced early ground type, useful for players who missed Onyx or want better offensive options. The quirky design and unique sand storage biology have made Hippopotas memorable, despite not being particularly powerful before evolution. Hippowdon evolves from Hippopotas at level 34, becoming a massive hippo capable of generating full scale sandstorms. The transformation dramatically increases Hippopotas's bulk, with Hippowdon possessing 108 base HP and excellent physical defense. Hippowdon's ability, Sandstream, automatically summons a sandstorm when it enters battle, making it the premier weather setter for sand based teams. The sand Hippowdon stores has increased in volume and potency, able to create sandstorms that last indefinitely rather than the temporary bursts Hippopotas produces. The permanent grin on Hippowdon's face belies its dangerous nature, as it will attack anything threatening its territory with overwhelming force. Hippowdon's enormous mouth can open wide enough to swallow Pokémon as large as Luxray Hole, though it typically uses this capability for intimidation rather than predation. The color difference between male and female Hippowdon persists from Hippopotas, with males displaying darker, more intimidating coloration. Wild Hippowdon established territories around oases and water sources in desert regions, controlling access to these vital resources. The relationship between Hippowdon and sand extends beyond battle utility, as Hippowdon actually requires regular sand baths to maintain skin health. Hippowdon's competitive usage centers around its ability to set up permanent sandstorm conditions while providing physical bulk and reliable damage. The addition of Slack Off to Hippowdon's move pool gives it reliable recovery, transforming it from a one time weather setter into a persistent defensive wall. Hippowdon represents one of the few Pokemon where the gender difference creates distinctly different appearances, affecting player preferences and team aesthetics. Skorupi brings a scorpion-based design to Sinnoh with unique poison and bug typing. The claws Skorupi uses to grab prey contain paralytic venom that immobilizes victims before Skorupi begins feeding. This hunting method allows Skorupi to safely subdue Pokémon larger than itself through patient stalking and precise strikes. The tail curved over Skorupi's back functions as both weapon and sensory organ, detecting vibrations in the ground that reveal approaching threats or prey. Skorupi's exoskeleton provides excellent protection against physical attacks, despite its relatively low defense stat. Wild Skorupi prefer arid environments where they can hide among rocks and ambush unsuspecting prey. The primarily nocturnal lifestyle Skorupi adopts helps it avoid predators and hunt Pokemon that emerge after dark. Skorupi's eyes provide excellent night vision, allowing it to navigate and hunt effectively in near total darkness. The distinctive purple coloration warns potential predators of Skorupi's venomous nature, though some predators have developed immunity to its toxins. Skorupi appears more commonly in Pokemon Pearl than Diamond, creating version-exclusive scarcity that affects team-building options. Drapion evolves from Skorupi at level 40, growing dramatically larger and gaining dark typing. The transformation changes Drapion's tail into a more formidable weapon, capable of crushing boulders and injecting massive doses of venom simultaneously. Drapion's poison and dark typing creates a unique combination with only one weakness to ground type moves, giving it exceptional defensive utility. The claws expand during evolution, becoming powerful enough to grab and restrain human sized opponents while the tail delivers the killing blow. Drapion's predatory efficiency increases dramatically after evolution, hunting larger prey like Luxray and even challenging Garchomp for territory. The armor plating covering Drapion's body has thickened considerably, providing genuine protection that reduces damage from physical attacks. Wild Drapions serve as apex predators in their ecosystems, with few natural threats capable of challenging fully grown specimens. The aggressive territorial behavior Drapion displays often leads to conflicts with human settlements, as expanding Drapion populations encroach on developed areas. Drapion's access to moves like Cross Poison, Night Slash, and Earthquake gives it excellent coverage and makes it unpredictable in battle. The combination of bulk, typing, and offensive capability makes Drapion one of the most underrated Pokemon from Generation 4. Drapion's role as one of Aaron's Pokemon in the Elite Four demonstrates its effectiveness in competitive level battles. The evolution from bug-type Skorupi to bugless Drapion represents an unusual type change that reflects increased sophistication and deadliness. Croagunk introduces a poison and fighting type frog with a distinctly thuggish personality. The throat sac Croagunk inflates serves as both a vocal amplifier and a poison reservoir, storing concentrated toxins until needed. Croagunk's fighting style incorporates dirty tactics like poisoning opponents mid-combat, reflecting its dark-type tendencies despite being fighting-typed. The lazy-eyed expression Croagunk typically displays masks quick reflexes and surprising combat effectiveness. Croagunk secretes poison through its fingertips, allowing it to envenom opponents with every punch and jab. Wild Croagunk prefer swampy areas where they can hide in murky water and ambush prey from below. The distinctive croaking sound Croagunk produces serves as a territorial warning, with deeper croaks indicating larger, more dominant individuals. Croagunk's appearance as Brock's Pokémon in the anime increased its popularity and gave it personality traits that endeared it to fans. The toxic sac visible on Croagunk's cheeks pulses when it's preparing to attack, providing a subtle tell that experienced trainers learn to recognize. Croagunk's relatively balanced base stats make it serviceable throughout a playthrough, though it truly shines after evolving into Toxicroak. Toxicroak evolves from Croagunk at level 37, becoming a more aggressive and powerful version of its pre evolution. The transformation enhances Toxicroak's poison production, with toxin concentrations strong enough to knock out Pokemon many times its size with single scratches. Toxicroak's claws extend into razor sharp points that can slash through flesh and bone while simultaneously injecting venom. The throat sac expands during evolution, now capable of storing enough poison to contaminate entire ponds if released all at once. Toxicroak's fighting style becomes more refined after evolution, incorporating boxing style combinations with venomous strikes. The red markings on Toxicroak's body intensify when it's highly poisoned or using moves like Poison Jab, creating a visual indicator of its toxic state. Wild Toxicroak established dominance hierarchies through combat, with the strongest individuals claiming the best hunting territories. The distinctive stance Toxicroak maintains, with hands raised like a boxer, has become one of its most recognizable features. Toxicroak's ability, Dry Skin, makes it an excellent counter to water types, healing from water type attacks while retaining its offensive advantages. The combination of high attack, decent speed, and strong stab moves makes Toxicroak a threat in both casual and competitive battles. Toxicroak's access to Sword Stance allows it to boost its already impressive attack to overwhelming levels. The toxic nature of Toxicroak requires trainers to handle it carefully, as even friendly contact can result in mild poisoning without proper precautions. Snover introduces a unique grass and ice type combination, the only Pokemon line with this typing until later generations. The berries growing from Snover's body are incredibly cold to the touch, maintaining sub-zero temperatures even in warm environments. Snover's permanent residence in snowy mountainous areas reflects its dependence on cold climates for survival. The ice-type coating protects Snover from cold damage while making it vulnerable to numerous common attack types. Snover's ability, Snow Warning, automatically summons a hailstorm when it enters battle, making it valuable for hail-based team compositions. Wild Snover forms small groves in areas where snow falls year-round, creating miniature ecosystems adapted to extreme cold. The leaves covering Snover's body remain green despite freezing temperatures, suggesting unique biochemical adaptations. Snover's relatively poor defensive typing gives it 7 weaknesses, making it fragile despite its defensive stat distribution. The cute appearance of Snover contrasts with the harsh environment it calls home, embodying the beauty and danger of mountain winters. Snover's evolution requirements include simply leveling to 40, one of the higher evolution levels in Sinnoh outside pseudo legendaries. Abomas now evolves from Snover at level 40, becoming a towering ice covered tree monster. The transformation increases Abomasnow's size dramatically, standing at over 7 feet tall and weighing approximately 300 pounds. Abomasnow's ability to generate blizzards at will makes it one of the most fearsome Pokemon in snow covered regions. The thick fur covering Abomasnow's body provides insulation, while the ice coating prevents moisture loss. Abomasnow's arms contain hollow chambers that can expel freezing wind powerful enough to create instant frostbite. The permanent blizzard surrounding Abomasnow in battle due to snow warning provides strategic advantages, boosting Blizzard's accuracy to 100%. Wild Abomasnow are solitary creatures, each claiming a mountain peak or forest as their exclusive territory. The 7 weaknesses Abomasnow inherits from Snover remain a significant liability, particularly the 4 times weakness to fire type moves. Despite these weaknesses, Abomasnow's offensive capabilities make it dangerous, possessing strong attack and special attack stats. Abomasnow's Mega Evolution, introduced in Generation 6, increases its offensive stats further while maintaining Snow Warning. The Mega form gains additional bulk and power, though its terrible defensive typing continues limiting its competitive viability. Abomasnow represents an interesting design philosophy where dramatic strengths balance significant weaknesses, creating a high risk, high reward battle experience. Weevil evolves from Sneasel using a Razor Claw held item during nighttime leveling, continuing Sneasel's dark and ice theme. The transformation sharpens Weevil's claws into weapons capable of carving through ice and rock with ease. Weevil's speed stat of 125 makes it one of the fastest Pokemon in Sinnoh, able to strike before nearly any opponent. The feathers adorning Weevil's head and tail serve as communication signals within Weevil packs, conveying complex information through subtle movements. Weevil's pack hunting tactics allow groups to take down prey much larger than individual Weevil could handle alone. The intelligence Weevil displays in coordinating attacks suggests sophisticated social structures and communication abilities. Wild Weevil populations inhabit the coldest areas of Sinnoh, where few other Pokemon can survive the extreme conditions. The claws Weevil uses to climb sheer ice walls leave distinctive marks that serve as territorial boundaries. Weevil's offensive prowess comes from its combination of high speed, strong attack, and excellent stab move options like Ice Punch and Night Slash. The addition of Weevil to many competitive teams showcases its value as a fast physical attacker and revenge killer. Weevil's presence in Sinnoh expanded the roster of viable ice types beyond the typically slow, defensive ice type Pokemon. The nighttime evolution requirement adds thematic appropriateness, as Weevil's dark typing and predatory nature suit nocturnal activity. Weevil's fragility requires careful play, as its poor bulk means it cannot withstand many attacks, despite its incredible offensive capabilities. Magnezone evolves from Magneton through exposure to the magnetic field at Mount Coronet, gaining pure steel typing. The evolution represents one of the first location based evolution methods in Pokémon, requiring players to discover the specific area. Magnezone's UFO like appearance comes from its three Magnemite components fully fusing and reorganizing into a new configuration. The electromagnetic field Magnezone generates is powerful enough to interfere with electronic devices within a 100-foot radius. Magnezone's special attack stat of 130 makes it one of the strongest special attackers among steel types. The ability Magnet Pull prevents steel type Pokemon from fleeing or switching, allowing Magnezone to trap and eliminate them with super effective hidden power. Magnezone's bulk improves considerably from Magneton, with increased HP and defense, allowing it to tank physical hits more effectively. Wild Magnezone are extremely rare, appearing only in areas with strong natural magnetic fields or near power plants. The anti-gravity technology Magnezone employs allows it to levitate permanently despite weighing nearly 400 pounds. Magnezone's coverage moves include Thunderbolt, Flash Cannon, and Hidden Power, giving it the tools to threaten a wide variety of opponents. The defensive typing provides 11 resistances and 1 immunity, making Magnezone exceptionally difficult to damage with the right move selection. Magnezone's role in competitive play often involves serving as a specially defensive pivot that can revenge kill weakened opponents. The requirement to visit Mount Coronet for evolution adds a layer of adventure to obtaining Magnezone, rewarding exploration. Magnezone represents the technological evolution theme present throughout the Magnemite line, progressing from simple magnets to complex electromagnetic systems. Lickilicky evolves from Lickitung through leveling while knowing rollout, creating an unusual move-based evolution requirement. The transformation increases Lickitung's girth substantially, creating a rotund body that reflects its gluttonous eating habits. Lickilicky's tongue extends even longer than Lickitung's, reaching over 6 feet and capable of grabbing objects from considerable distances. The saliva Lickilicky produces possesses paralyzing properties, coating anything its tongue touches with a numbing agent. Lickilicky's move pool includes a surprising variety of special attacks, despite having stronger physical stats, creating unpredictable battle strategies. The pink coloration remains consistent from Lickitung, though Lickilicky develops additional features like a curled tuft of hair. Wild Lickilicky are gluttonous creatures, consuming massive amounts of food daily to maintain their substantial bulk. The prehensile tongue functions as a third arm, allowing Lickilicky to manipulate objects and attack simultaneously. Lickilicky's normal typing provides neutral matchups against most opponents while leaving it vulnerable only to fighting type moves. The ability Cloud9 negates weather effects when Lickilicky is active, making it valuable as a counter to weather-based teams. Lickilicky's bulk and access to Wish provide team support options, allowing it to function as a cleric in addition to its offensive capabilities. The evolution requirement adds complexity to obtaining Lickilicky, as players must specifically teach Lickitung a move it wouldn't naturally learn at relevant levels. Lickilicky represents the continued expansion of older generation Pokémon through cross generation evolutions, breathing new life into underutilized species. Rhyperior evolves from Raiden through trade while holding a protector, completing the three-stage Rhyhorn line. The transformation adds rock armor plates across Rhyperior's body, increasing its already impressive physical bulk. Rhyperior's arms develop holes that function as cannons, allowing it to launch rocks and boulders at high velocity. The combination of incredible ethic and defense stats makes Rhyperior one of the most physically imposing Pokémon in Sinnoh. Rhyperior's ground and rock typing provides strong offensive stab options while creating significant defensive liabilities, particularly a 4 times weakness to water and grass. The tail Rhyperior develops can drill through solid rock, allowing it to excavate tunnels and modify its environment. Wild Rhyperior serve as dominant forces in mountainous regions, shaping the landscape through their digging and territorial disputes. The intelligence Rhyperior displays shows improvement from Raiden, able to employ more sophisticated tactics during battles. Rhyperior's solid rock ability reduces super effective damage by 25%, partially mitigating its type-based vulnerabilities. The sheer mass of Rhyperior exceeds 600 pounds, making it one of the heaviest fully evolved Pokémon. Rhyperior's role as Giovanni's signature Pokémon in some media reinforces its status as a powerful, intimidating ground type. The trait evolution requirement, withheld item, represents increased complexity in evolution methods, requiring player cooperation or multiple game copies. Rhyperior showcases the continued evolution of the original generation's design philosophy, adding modern complexity to classic Pokémon. Tangrowth evolves from Tangela through leveling while knowing ancient power, another move-based evolution method. The transformation dramatically increases Tangrowth's size and vine density, creating a walking mass of plant tendrils. Tangrowth's vines extend and retract at will, reaching lengths of over 60 feet when fully extended. These vines function independently, each capable of grasping objects or attacking opponents simultaneously. Tangrowth's blue coloration represents increased health and vitality compared to Tangela's magenta hue. The eyes visible through Tangrowth's vines rarely appear in the same configuration twice, as the constantly shifting tendrils obscure its true appearance. Wild Tangrowth establish territories in dense jungles and forests where their plant-based bodies can camouflage effectively. The photosynthesis Tangrowth performs supplements its diet, allowing it to survive on minimal food intake during sunny days. Tangrowth's ability Regenerator restores 33% of its HP when switching out, making it an excellent pivot and defensive wall. The move pool includes both physical and special attacks, with Tangrowth's stats supporting either offensive approach. Tangrowth's bulk allows it to set up stat boosts safely, using moves like Growth and Swords Dance before sweeping. The arm like appendages Tangrowth uses aren't actually arms, but rather specialized vine clusters that evolved to mimic limb functionality. Tangrowth represents another successful cross generation evolution, elevating Tangela from obscurity to competitive viability. Electivire evolves from Electabuzz through trade while holding an Electorizer, completing the three-stage Elekid line. The transformation adds a second tail and additional black striping, emphasizing Electivire's increased electrical generation capacity. Electivire's body can store vast amounts of electricity, enough to power a small city for several days. The twin tails function as electrical conductors and weapons capable of delivering shocks strong enough to stop a heart. Electivire's ability, Motor Drive, boosts its speed when hit by electric type moves, making it an excellent counter to opposing electric types. The muscular build Electivire develops during evolution provides the physical power necessary to deliver devastating fighting type moves like close combat. Wild Electivire are territorial, defending their domains from other electric types through displays of electrical power. The yellow coloration intensifies when Electivire charges up, creating a visual warning of an impending attack. Electivire's attack stat of 123 makes it a formidable physical sweeper with access to strong coverage moves. The intelligence Electivire displays in battle suggests sophisticated tactical thinking, adapting strategies based on opponent behavior. Electivire's role as Paul's ace Pokémon in the anime demonstrated its competitive strength against even elite trainers. The trade evolution requirement adds prestige to obtaining Electivire, making it a symbol of trainer dedication and resources. Electivire represents the power of fully realized evolutionary lines, combining iconic design with competitive viability. Magmortar evolves from Magmar through trade while holding a Magmarizer, completing the Magby line. The transformation adds cannon-like appendages to Magmortar's arms, serving as focused channels for fire attacks. Magmortar's flames burn hot enough to melt steel instantly, reaching temperatures exceeding 3,000 degrees. The yellow coloration and flame-like protrusions emphasize Magmortar's mastery over fire. Magmortar's special attack, stat of 125, makes it one of the strongest special attackers among fire types. The cannons Magmortar developed can fire balls of flame that explode on impact, creating devastating area damage. Wild Magmortar are rare, typically inhabiting volcanic regions where they absorb geothermal energy. The body temperature Magmortar maintains would be lethal to most Pokémon, requiring special adaptations in its cells and proteins. Magmortar's bulk improves from Magmar, giving it enough durability to survive hits while setting up attacks. The ability Flame Body punishes physical attackers by potentially burning them on contact, providing passive defensive utility. Magmortar's coverage options include Thunderbolt and Focus Blast, allowing it to threaten water, rock, and ground types. The rivalry between Magmortar and Electivire mirrors the relationship between their pre-evolutions, creating narrative symmetry. Magmortar represents the completion of one of Generation 1's most iconic evolutionary lines, adding modern power to a classic design. Togekiss evolves from Togetic using a shiny stone, adding flying typing to its fairy classification. The transformation grants Togekiss actual flight capability, with wings large enough to soar gracefully through the skies. Togekiss's serene appearance reflects its gentle nature, described as bringing happiness and peace to those who encounter it. The Serene Grace ability doubles the secondary effect chance of Togekiss's moves, making Air Slash a terrifying offensive option with a 60% flinch rate. Togekiss's special attack and special defense stats provide balanced special prowess, making it effective as both attacker and special wall. The blessing Togekiss supposedly brings has made it a symbol of good fortune in Sinnoh culture. Wild Togekiss are incredibly rare, appearing only in the most pristine and peaceful natural areas. The flight pattern Togekiss employs resembles gleeing more than active flapping, conserving energy during long distance travel. Togekiss's competitive usage often centers around para-flinch strategies, paralyzing opponents, and then continuously flinching them with Air Slash. The addition of fairy typing in later generations gave Togekiss additional resistances and a powerful stab move option. Togekiss's role in competitive play as a special attacker or support Pokémon demonstrates its versatility. The evolution from the adorable Togepi to the majestic Togekiss represents one of the most dramatic transformations in Pokémon. Yanmega evolves from Yanma through leveling while knowing ancient power, gaining both size and bug and flying typing specialization. The transformation increases Yanmega's wingspan to over 6 feet, making it large enough to carry human passengers. Yanmega's design draws from prehistoric dragonflies that existed during Earth's Carboniferous period when insects grew to enormous sizes. The 6 wings Yanmega possesses beat with incredible speed, creating sonic booms that can shatter glass. Yanmega's compound eyes provide 360-degree vision, making it nearly impossible to approach undetected. The Speed Boost ability increases Yanmega's speed by 1 stage each turn, eventually allowing it to outspeed even naturally faster opponents. Yanmega's jaw strength allows it to bite through steel beams, making it a dangerous predator despite its insectoid appearance. Wild Yanmega hunt in territories spanning several square miles, patrolling the skies for prey and intruders. The coloration of Yanmega's body provides camouflage against forest canopies when viewed from below. Yanmega's special attack-focused stats make it an effective special sweeper, particularly when combined with Speed Boost. The moveset including Air Slash, Bug Buzz, and coverage options like Ancient Power or Giga Drain provides excellent type coverage. Yanmega represents successful evolution design, taking an underutilized Pokémon and transforming it into a competitive threat. Leafeon evolves from Eevee through leveling near a moss rock, introducing a location based evolution method. The transformation channels Eevee's adaptability into pure grass type specialization. Leafeon's tail and ears are composed of actual leaves that perform photosynthesis, providing supplemental energy. The cells in Leafeon's body closely resemble plant cells, blurring the line between animal and vegetable. Leafeon's offensive stats lean toward physical attack rather than special, unusual for grass types, but fitting its design. The sharp leaves covering Leafeon's body can slice through steel, making physical contact dangerous. Wild Leafeon prefer dense forests where they blend seamlessly with foliage, becoming nearly invisible to predators. The connection to plant life allows Leafeon to sense seasonal changes and weather patterns with remarkable accuracy. Leafeon's move pool emphasizes physical grass type moves like Leaf Blade and X Scissor, providing strong stab damage. The chlorophyll ability doubles Leafeon's speed in harsh sunlight, making it an effective sun sweeper. Leafeon's bulk allows it to function as a physical wall in addition to its offensive capabilities. The Moss Rock evolution requirement adds environmental storytelling, suggesting that Eevee transforms in response to concentrated natural energy. Glaceon evolves from Eevee through leveling near an ice rock, another location based evolution addition. The transformation converts Eevee's fur into a crystalline structure that resembles ice but remains flexible. Glaceon's body temperature hovers at negative 58 degrees Fahrenheit, making physical contact uncomfortable for warm blooded creatures. The fur can freeze moisture in the air instantly, creating a perpetual aura of frost around Glaceon. Glaceon's special attack. Stat of 130 makes it one of the strongest special attacking evolutions. The defensive stats provide decent bulk, allowing Glaceon to take hits while dealing massive ice type damage. Wild Glaceon inhabit the coldest regions of Sinnoh, where they blend into snowy landscapes perfectly. The crystalline structure of Glaceon's body refracts light beautifully, creating rainbow effects in sunlight. Glaceon's move pool includes Ice Beam, Shadow Ball, and Water Pulse, providing good type coverage. The Snow Cloak ability increases evasion during hailstorms, making Glaceon difficult to hit in appropriate weather. Glaceon's role in competitive play varies from special sweeper to defensive wall depending on stat distribution and move set. The Ice Rock evolution requirement mirrors Leafeon's Moss Rock, establishing a pattern for environmental Eevee evolutions. Gliscor evolves from Gligar through leveling at night while holding a Razor Fang, combining multiple evolution requirements. The transformation increases Gligar's size and adds more pronounced features, particularly the scorpion like tail. Gliscor's ground and flying typing provides unique resistances, including immunity to both ground and electric type moves. The ability to glide silently allows Gliscor to approach prey without detection, making it a fearsome nocturnal hunter. Gliscor's Poison Heal ability converts poison damage into healing, creating one of the most unique defensive strategies in Pokémon. The strategy of poisoning Gliscor with toxic orb, then stalling opponents while healing, has become infamous in competitive play. Gliscor's claws have adapted for both gliding and grabbing, functioning as multi-purpose tools. Wild Gliscor established territories in mountainous regions where thermal updrafts facilitate effortless gliding. The vampire bat inspiration becomes more apparent in Gliscor's design, with wing membranes and nocturnal hunting patterns. Gliscor's defensive stats and typing make it exceptionally difficult to KO, particularly when running poison heal sets. The access to moves like Earthquake, Ice Fang, and U-Turn provides offensive utility while maintaining defensive presence. Gliscor represents one of the most successful cross-generation evolutions, transforming Gligar from a Spamausakas, relatively weak Pokémon into a top-tier competitive threat. Mamoswine evolves from Piloswine through leveling while knowing ancient power, completing the Swinub line. The transformation dramatically increases Mamoswine's size and adds massive tusks for combat and excavation. Mamoswine's ice and ground typing provides excellent offensive coverage, with Stabby Earthquake and Ice Shard threatening many common Pokemon. The thick fur and fat layer provide insulation against Sinnoh's harshest winters, allowing Mamoswine to thrive in sub-zero temperatures. Mamoswine's physical attack stat of 130 makes it a devastating physical sweeper. The tusks can freeze on contact, combining physical damage with ice-based effects. Wild Mamoswine led herds of Swinub and Piloswine, using their superior size and strength to protect the group. The extinct mammoth inspiration becomes fully realized in Mamoswine's design, paying homage to Ice Age megafauna. Mamoswine's bulk allows it to tank hits while dealing massive damage, making it a premier physical wall breaker. The ability Thick Fat reduces fire and ice type damage by 50%, mitigating 2 of its 4 weaknesses. Mamoswine's Ice Shard provides priority, allowing it to pick off weakened faster opponents before they attack. Mamoswine's role in competitive play involves breaking through defensive cores and revenge killing with priority moves. Porygon Z evolves from Porygon through trade while holding a dubious disc, representing the corruption of digital code. The transformation causes visible glitches in Porygon Z's physical form, with erratic movements and unpredictable behavior. Porygon Z's special attack stat of 135 makes it one of the strongest special attackers in Sinnoh. The adaptability ability boosts a stab moves from 1.5 times to double damage, making Porygon Z's attacks devastatingly powerful. The erratic behavior results from the unauthorized software modification implied by the dubious disc item. Porygon Z's move pool includes powerful coverage moves like Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, and Dark Pulse, allowing it to threaten a wide variety of opponents. The download ability can boost either attack or special attack, depending on opponent defenses, adding unpredictability. Wild Porygon Z don't exist in natural habitats, only appearing through intentional modification of Porygon 2 by humans. The unstable nature of Porygon Z raises ethical questions about the limits of artificial Pokemon modification. Porygon Z's glass cannon nature makes it effective as a hit and run special sweeper, dealing massive damage before opponents can retaliate. The combination of extreme power and poor bulk creates high risk, high reward gameplay that can swing battles dramatically. Porygon Z represents the dark side of technological advancement in the Pokemon world, showing that not all evolution is beneficial. Gallade evolves from male Curlia using a Dawnstone, providing an alternative to Gardevoir. The transformation shifts from psychic specialization to fighting and psychic combination, emphasizing physical combat. Gallade's arm blades extend from its elbows, functioning as both swords and shields during combat. The chivalrous nature described in Pokedex entries characterizes Gallade as a protector, particularly of female Gardevoir. Gallade's attack stat rivals its special attack, creating a unique split compared to the special focused Gardevoir. The blade arms can cut through anything when infused with psychic energy, making Gallade exceptionally dangerous in close combat. Wild Gallade protect Gardevoir and Ralts groups, serving as defenders against predators and threats. The fighting typing adds tactical depth to the Ralts line, providing physical power that Gardevoir lacks. Gallade's ability Steadfast increases speed when flinched, punishing opponents who rely on flinch strategies. The access to moves like Close Combat, Psycho Cut, and Leaf Blade provides strong offensive coverage. Gallade's Mega Evolution increases its attack dramatically while maintaining balanced defenses. The gender requirement for evolution creates interesting breeding considerations for players seeking specific Ralts line members. Probopass evolves from Nosepass through leveling at Mount Coronet, gaining Steel typing. The transformation adds three smaller mini noses that orbit Probopass's main body through magnetic force. Probopass's mustache-like iron filings give it a distinguished appearance while serving as sensory organs. The magnetic field Probopass generates allows it to control the mini-noses independently, attacking opponents from multiple angles. Probopass's defensive stats are remarkable, with base 145 defense and special defense of 150. The sturdy ability ensures Probopass survives any single hit from full HP with at least 1 HP remaining. Wild Probopass are stationary guardians, claiming specific locations and never leaving their chosen posts. The magnetic field interferes with electronic equipment and affects the accuracy of metal weapons and Pokemon. Probopass's typing provides 11 resistances and 1 immunity, making it nearly unbreakable on the special defensive side. The access to Stealth Rock and Thunder Wave makes Probopass an excellent entry hazard setter and support Pokemon. Probopass represents successful evolution design, taking a forgettable Pokemon and giving it clear competitive identity. Dusknoir evolves from Dusclops through trade, while holding a Reaper Cloth, completing the Duskull line. The transformation increases Dusknoir's physical bulk dramatically while maintaining its ghost typing. Dusknoir's body contains a hollow cavity that supposedly leads to the spirit world, able to absorb souls of the deceased. The antenna on Dusknoir's head receives transmissions from the spirit world, guiding it to souls that need collection. Dusknoir's appearance as Death's messenger in folklore makes it one of the most ominous ghost types. The single eye on Dusknoir's body can paralyze opponents with fear when they look directly into it. Wild Dusknoir appear during twilight hours, wandering between the physical and spirit realms. The bulk Dusknoir possesses makes it one of the few ghost types capable of functioning as a physical tank. Dusknoir's ability pressure doubles opponent PP usage, making it effective at stalling opponents. The move pool includes Shadow Sneak for priority, Earthquake for coverage, and Will-O-Wisp for status spreading. Dusknoir's competitive usage decreased after Generation 4 due to power creep, but it remains viable in specific team compositions. Froslas evolves from female Snorunt using a Dawn Stone, creating a gender-based evolution split with Glalie. The transformation adds ice and ghost typing, creating one of the fastest ghost types in Sinnoh. Frostless's design draws from the Yuki Onna, a Japanese snow spirit that appears as a beautiful woman in white. The frozen ball Frostless inhabits supposedly contains the soul of a woman lost in a snowstorm, adding tragic lore. Frostless's speed stat of 110 makes it an effective lead Pokemon, able to set up hazards before opponents attack. The ability Snow Cloak increases evasion in hail, making Frostless difficult to hit in appropriate weather. Wild Frostless inhabit mountain peaks where they lure lost travelers deeper into snowstorms. The breath Frostless releases freezes opponents solid instantly, preserving them in ice indefinitely. Frostless's move pool includes Spikes, Taunt, and Destiny Bond, making it versatile in competitive play. The special attack focus allows Frostless to deal significant damage while maintaining defensive utility. Rotom exists as a unique ghost and electric type, with the ability to possess electrical appliances. The base Rotom form inhabits machinery, animating it through electric and spectral energy. Rotom's discovery in the old chateau at night creates one of Generation 4's most memorable encounters. The transformation into different forms by possessing different appliances adds unprecedented versatility. The 5 forms include Heat Rotom, Wash Rotom, Frost Rotom, Fan Rotom, and Mow Rotom, each with different secondary types. This form-changing ability makes Rotom exceptionally adaptable, functioning as an electric type with coverage for its typical counters. Wild Rotom are mischievous, possessing electrical devices and causing malfunctions for entertainment. The origin of Rotom as a spirit that evolved through exposure to modern technology raises questions about Pokemon adaptation. Rotom's balanced stats allow it to function in multiple roles depending on form and moveset. The competitive usage of Rotom forms, particularly Wash Rotom, demonstrates their effectiveness in high-level play. Thank you for joining me through these 180 obscure facts about Sinnoh's Pokémon. The region's deep mythology, innovative evolutions, and unforgettable species continue to captivate players nearly 2 decades after Diamond and Pearl's release. If you enjoyed drifting off to these facts tonight, check out the Pokemon to Sleep to playlist that should appear on your screen for more gentle journeys through Pokemon history and lore. Rest well, and may your dreams be filled with the mysteries of Sinnoh.